Some jungle legends stay legends until they don't. Deep in the Amazon, researchers found shredded tents, claw marks in trees, and blood trails that went nowhere. Locals had a name for it, La Umbría. They warned people not to go looking for it, but curiosity, as always, has a price. The mission begins. In 2009, Dr. Eliana Cruz led a small research team deep into an uncharted stretch of the Amazon rainforest. Their goal was to study undocumented plant species believed to have medicinal potential. With her were 3 others: Diego, a wildlife biologist; Marina, a sound technician; and Leandro, a botanist. The group was experienced, well-equipped, and backed by a university grant. They set up camp near a slow-moving tributary surrounded by dense, almost unnaturally quiet forest. For the first 2 days, everything went according to plan. Equipment worked, samples were collected, they even recorded rare bird calls. But on the 3rd night, that silence was shattered. A long, low howl echoed from deep within the jungle, too loud, too deep, and too unnatural to be anything they recognized. It did not sound like a jaguar. It sounded like something much, much bigger. That night, their local guides packed their gear and left without a word. Strange signs in the trees. The morning after the howl, the team found something chilling. Several trees near the edge of their camp were marked, 3 deep, jagged claw marks slashing diagonally across the bark more than 8 feet above the ground. No known jungle predator could reach that high, not even a jaguar. At first, they thought it might be a prank by the guides who left. But then the generator was discovered 30 meters from where it had been placed, crushed as if tossed by something with incredible strength. That night, Diego reported seeing something between the trees. Not clearly, just movement. He described it as tall, dark, and wrong. The trees didn't move, he whispered to Eliana. They bent away. Marina set up audio sensors, hoping to catch the sound again, but all they picked up was static. The jungle was silent, completely silent, as if it was listening. The local legend, La Umbría. Still shaken, Eliana radioed a village they had passed through before entering the forest. An old man answered. When she mentioned the claw marks and the sound, there was a long silence. Then he spoke one word, La Umbría, the shadowed one. He warned her in a trembling voice, "It comes when you wake what should sleep." According to the legend, La Umbría was not an animal, but a spirit that took form, part beast, part darkness. It was said to walk without sound, climb without effort, and kill without hunger. It did not devour flesh. It erased presence. Those taken were not found because they ceased to exist. The man begged her to leave the jungle before the new moon, before the creature became fully awake. His final words echoed through the static before the signal died. If you see its eyes, you are already inside them. One by one, that night, the sound returned. But it did not come from the jungle. It came from within the camp. A humming, like bones vibrating under skin. Leandro began to scream and ran into the dark with a flashlight and a machete. They chased after him, but he was gone. All they found was the machete, still warm, buried in the dirt, blood nearby, but no tracks. The following day, Diego became withdrawn. He stopped speaking, stared into the trees for hours, and began sketching strange shapes in the mud, circles with lines bending through them like twisted branches. "It feeds on what you hear," he muttered once. "It wears the jungle." Marina and Eliana considered calling for an air rescue, but the satellite phone was dead. despite full batteries. Every night, the same low hum would return. Every night, something came closer. The trees no longer swayed. They stood still, like they were holding their breath. The rescue attempt. 10 days later, a rescue team was sent to retrieve the researchers after the university lost contact. What they found defied logic. The camp was torn apart. Tents shredded, equipment smashed, personal belongings untouched. No signs of struggle, no blood, only a ring of blackened earth around the site, like something had burned the ground without fire. Near the river, they found Eliana's journal lodged in a tree, as if thrown there by something massive. The final pages were written in a rush. One sentence repeated over and over. It folds the space between the trees. One rescuer, a hardened soldier, was found sitting alone after the search, crying and refusing to speak. Later, he told his commanding officer, "The jungle blinked. It blinked, and they were gone." The report was sealed. The forest was declared unstable. No further expeditions were allowed. But the legend of La Umbría continued, passed from whisper to whisper. Experts stay silent. After the failed rescue, the university involved released a short statement. Communication equipment failure. Research team presumed lost due to environmental hazards. But many insiders claimed that was not the full story. Audio technicians who reviewed Marina's recovered recordings were reportedly disturbed by a low-frequency pulse embedded in the files, inaudible to most ears, but still causing headaches and nausea. A technician reportedly suffered a seizure after prolonged exposure. The audio was never released to the public. Several professors who had been advising the expedition quietly withdrew from public appearances. When journalists asked about La Umbría, they were met with silence or off-the-record warnings. Some said the government was involved. Others believed the jungle had claimed its dead. Whatever the truth, no one dared step foot in that region again, not to research, not to rescue, not even to recover the dead. What if it was real? We always assume that what we do not understand must be fiction, that legends are only echoes of fear. But every story begins somewhere. What if La Umbría is real? Not a monster, but a mechanism, something the forest itself uses to protect what man was never meant to find? The claw marks, the silenced electronics, the vibrating bones, all point to a presence not bound by animal instinct. Something ancient, something built not from flesh, but from the memory of the forest itself. Could the jungle form its own guardian, one that appears only when boundaries are crossed? Maybe La Umbría is not a creature, maybe it is a rule, and when that rule is broken, something comes to correct it. So why has no one seen it again? They say no one has seen La Umbría again. But maybe that is not true. Maybe people have seen it and vanished before they could tell anyone. Maybe the reason the jungle holds its secret so tightly is because it has something watching, something ensuring silence. The story of Eliana's team was buried, just like the clawed trees and broken camp. But the jungle doesn't forget. And sometimes it leaves reminders, like a blood-smeared journal or a sound that makes you freeze even when nothing is there. If you ever step into a place where even the birds go quiet, stop, turn back, because La Umbría might already be listening. Not all monsters roar. Some wait, some listen, and some make sure that silence stays unbroken. If this story haunted you, share it. And remember, if you ever hear a low hum in the trees and the forest seems to hold its breath, do not run. Just pray it hasn't already seen you